Well, hi. It's been a while since I've done a movie, and George is going to be very worried that I still exist. But anyway, the sun's not been shining that much. It's a really pleasant morning here at the moment. We've had some really cold weather. As a matter of fact, I think for June we've had the coldest morning or coldest day in about 130 years, so it sort of makes it hard to get enthusiastic to drag the machine out and do anything with it. I've had a bunch of things on not related to this project. So let's take a look around the chassis and see where I'm at, and see what I'm going to do hopefully today. Let's do just that. Okay, we're on our side, as you can see. There's not much been going on the underside at all. So let's have a look. It's the sound deadening in particular that I've needed to complete, and you can see that it's all up. The sun is playing a bit of havoc, but if I come back a bit, you can sort of see where all the work's been put in here with the battery access panel. So I've filled in right up to here, anywhere that sort of comes inside. I had a bit left over here. I used 9 sheets in one pack, 5 in another, so 14 sheets of Dynamat altogether just to do this whole cockpit area, as you can see, which then takes me into the back section here. So I've only gone as far as where the spare wheel sits, and just with a little bit of leftover in there. You can see there under the dash, that's all done. So very tedious, awkward, but it's done, and I'm glad about that. The next thing I've got to do is fix the seat mounting mechanism. Okay, so that leaves me with what I'm going to do today. I'm going to try and install the fuel line, which I've got here, as you can see. Okay, so I've had it rolled up, I've unrolled it, tried to straighten it as much as I possibly can. It's got to sit along here like so. Okay, now what I'm going to do is put you back on the stand and then talk about the fuel line. Okay, so what I've got here is the fuel line that needs to be installed like so, but it goes up into this area up in here, and from there to the fuel pump. And I've got a section here of the original fuel pipe that I've got, fuel line, and so it's hopefully going to help me to work out how the bends and that should go. And I've got here my little bending tool, okay, for that appropriate size, which is I think about 5/16 here. Okay, so, and I know that it goes up into this slot, so what I'll do is try and get it in there somehow, and just be clever at maybe how I try and manipulate it. Yep, and yes. Okay, so as you can see, it sort of took a kick bend there, a little nice round bend there, and up in here. I'll show you that in a sec. And then comes along, and here's the other part of that fuel line here, okay, which has got all sorts of wonky bends, and then the flexible hose at the end of it. So I'm not interested in that part. The thing is that I've got the so-called correct length. If I make it as short as I possibly can, transition it so it moves along, you know, along here, and then we'll just see where it ends up at the other end. So let me just take you down for a sec and show you what's going on here. So you can see my fuel pump there, and this is the hose that we're talking about. I've got an elbow. This is the outline, okay, so that's out where you see that yellow plastic cap. That's the out, and then obviously around this side here is the inlet outlet, and that needs to sit something like that, okay, over the top of that. So, and it might even sit in behind this this little piece here to hold it in place, so we can just bend that around. So the bends on this are I could say are reasonably accurate, okay, and as I said, it comes through that little section there and then sits or snug nicely up along here, and so we need to then find how best to mount it along along this chassis rail here. Okay, so okay, let's just stop there for a moment and pull it back out and see where we're at. It's more these two bends here that I'm interested in, so I really want to sort of have it from, let me see if you can see that from the end. Yeah, I'll just move that forward a little bit. So I want to have a bend starting about here to 90 degrees, okay, and then we move that along, and then a bend here at 90 degrees again. So you can see that this bend here is perpendicular to this one. So I'll just get a marking pen, okay, and a steel rule, marking pen, and what I want to do is that bend there, for example, looks, you know, reasonably well like a 90 degree bend, which starts, if I would have to say, it's probably the same sort, or you know, probably a bit larger than that on the radius, but if I say that it starts there and finishes about there, okay, so I need to at least start my bend right about there. Okay, so if I work my way down, what's left at the other end is just what's left. So if I take that and I'll put a marker there. Alright, now for the first bend it doesn't matter how we lie, and let me see if I can work out how this thing works. I did have it sorted out before. Okay, like so, and it's the largest part, which is like, sits in there. Oh dear. Okay, so we sit in there, and I've got to sit under this okay, right there, like so. Alright, can you see that? In other words, that's to stop it, you know, acts as a stop. There's the beginning of my bend there, where the black mark is, and if I just hold that there, this here has to come up over the top of it. Okay, let's just go back again. Okay, so we start that again. Over the top, I've got a marker, right, and then this fellow here, okay, which is like so. Can you see that? Alright, and so I've got my little black mark. I've just got to make sure you're seeing that. I think you can, so and then pull that around, and right on the edge of the marker there, well, they're saying 0.0 is actually about there, but I'll just give it that little bit of extra meat and hold it on that edge there, this off, even though 0 is listed there. Okay, so we then go around for a 90-degree bend, and can you see that? It's coming around, and it's actually flattening the bend a bit as well, the tube. So 90 degrees, and let's have a look, see how that looks. So, and gee, that there's your 90 degrees. But can you see how I've flattened that? Well, not happy with that, Jan. Okay, it's the that's the way it is. So, can you see how that's sort of flattened out a bit? Okay. Alright, well let's keep moving. So I've done my bend there. Mind you, that's actually quite a tight bend as well, whereas these are seem to have a much larger radius. So so after that bend, which is about there, we then go to the next bend, which is about here, and so again a marker pen just for where the bend starts, and remembering, so that's where it finished, so I'll put that where that finished there, and being a tighter bend, this will end up a bit longer because of the much tighter radius. So I'm going to allow a little bit more here for that extra bit of length that I think I'm going to need in this straight portion here before the bend. Can you see that? If I sit that on there. Okay, and that bend has to come up at basically 90 degrees to that. So we put it in like so. Okay, and at 90 degrees, okay, so I'm turning that, and I'll bring this down here, and so let's see how that looks. Now the worst thing is that I just don't, it's going to end up quite a bit shorter, so I'm just going to lengthen that a bit more. In other words, there's my marker, and I'll just let a little bit more stick out. So let's just see how that looks. And of course, you know, that's nowhere near 90 degrees, of course. Well, quite a bit longer there, just to make up for the differences. So I'll just sit there for a moment. Just let that sit there. I'll just take a measurement for the height. That needs to be about, from the underside of this, it needs to be about 200 millimeters, so a little bit shorter it can be. I'll just double check that again. So what I'm doing is from the center of where that connects to how it comes out of the chassis, the height from that to the bottom of the chassis is what I want, and I'm looking at about the where it comes into the middle of the bend here. So remember, all the bends are taken center to center normally. So I've got about 210 millimeters there. Now, just checking again. No, I need about, it says I need about 220 to come out. Okay, so let's take a look at that from there to there. That's about 220 there. Okay, the center of that tube to what I think might be the center of after the bend, and that's about 220 there. Alright, so let's go for a good 90. Alright, and just double check that again, center to center. Yep. And perpendicular in the bend. I just move that a bit. Okay, about there. Okay, there. Going for a 90-degree bend. Okay, which is about there. Okay, let's pull it out. And it tells me that that's about right. Okay, so let's put it in and see what it's got to tell me. I wonder if I just hit that on that, if that would maybe round it back out again. Can you see that? Again, it's gone a little bit flat, which is a bit disappointing, but with the tools that I've got, there's not a lot I can do about it. Okay, let's hammer that. Yeah, a lot better. Quite a bit better. Let's do this one. If I just rest that on the edge there, where it's again, yeah, that's thickened it up quite a bit. Yeah, well, it's improved it. It's not perfect, but it's improved it. Okay, so now let's see if it fits. So let's turn you around and see what happens. Let's see if that's workable. That's going to go through there. Yeah, not. Can't even get the nut through, so I'll just take that off for the moment, the olive and the nut, so that I've got just a straight tube. That might work a bit better. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and okay. Alright, well, I didn't expect that to go so easily, so let's have a look and see what's happened in here. And you can see there Okay, so the elbow will be just here. Okay, so there's a little elbow facing out and sitting just like so, and it'll go, I guess, behind this little flap here, and then just pinch that around. Okay, so that's how that sits there like that. That's pretty good. And height wise, I've got a little bit of flexibility here. Okay, but it should pull around easily, so that's good, and that's good. And as you can see, it's sitting there, and it'll be fastened along the inside of the chassis, and free to sit just here, and then the fuel line goes off up here. Okay, and that can be, if necessary, that can be shortened, because I'm not sure how long that's supposed to be. I've looked at two cars, and they're both different, so we'll just look and see what we've got. Okay, so I think I can actually fix that in place. So the next step is to take a look and see what we've got to do that with, and the little clips I should have somewhere. Okay, so the fuel clips are these little, and for the brake line as well, are these little clips here, and they go something like this. I've got an old piece of fuel tubing that goes around the tube like so, okay, and then that fits in a hole and is supposed to clip in, okay, over this first little bit of bend, if you can see that. Okay, so it's supposed to clip in just there so that it doesn't open itself up again, so it'll spring in, I think, and it's designed to hold it in place. So what I need to do is work out the size of the hole necessary to hold this size tube. So that's just trial and error, I think, because I don't have a hole to work with. So what I'll do, just in a little bit of aluminium here, I've drilled a hole here at the end, okay, and we just if I just cut off a little bit of this tube, straight tube here, like so, okay, and if I could just clean that up a little bit. Always use the right tool for the right job. Okay, just so that I've got clean lines to work with. Okay, so we clip that on, yeah, and we lock that in there like, and then obviously that's a 6mm hole there at the moment, and it's nowhere near enough. Okay, so we need to open that up to 6, 7, I think that's 7. Yep, that's 7mm. So we try that again, and I've just got to keep going up and up until I find one that will take. Nope, not big enough. Okay, so I've got 8mm. Okay, there. Okay, so 8mm hole, and can you see that? Let me see if you can see that. Okay, so 8mm hole and bit to hold it in place. So that's the standard. Okay. Alright, so I'll just write there 8mm, and now I need to measure where I'm going to put these. Okay, so that's the next step. Alright. Okay, so I've put little markers in, starting about there, and the next thing is to drill, and I've spaced them at 180 millimeters, which will finish me. You can see that last marker is just here, okay, and it'll finish me just at the end there. So I guess I'm good to go, good to drill. However, the weather's just starting to turn nasty, so I might have to drill and insert these little clips another day.